Put it in your bag tomorrow. Like, you got it. You don't want Steve, Steve password. Ano yan? Yung rantay mo niya to. Dapat may ikot ka pa isang monitor dito. Wala nang space. Lagi yung ano yun, may naka-suspend mo yung ganon. Well, this kailan doon? Pati um, what is all at first come from? My own. Show me if it's bad. Show me if it's bad though. What? It's so good. What's that? So you can go now. But you want to draw something else okay, again. Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, wait. I'll apply something. Oh, this is. So, so,
Hey guys, I'm still unemployed, so let's solve another LeetCode problem today. LeetCode 2, add two numbers together. So just like the problem says, all we're really doing is adding two numbers together, right? So like this example, 342, 465, add them together, right? That's 807. Well, you probably remember from elementary school how to add two numbers together, right? So that's the number one thing to know about this problem, right? So we're adding 342 and 465. So do you remember how to add two numbers together from elementary school? You probably do, but you might think you don't. So let's just look at this, right? 2 plus 5, that's 7. 4 plus 6, that's 10, but that's a two-digit number, right? So we got to take a carry for that. So we'll put a 0 here, but we know we have a carry, so we're going to have to put that 1 over here, right? So now we have 1 plus 3 plus 4. That's 8. So we just did it, right? That was the result, 807. So you do probably remember how to add two numbers together. That's really the main part of this problem. Now, the second thing to recognize, though, of this problem is that there's a lot of edge cases. That's kind of why there's a lot of dislikes in this problem. You can tell over here. But so there's going to be a lot of edge cases, and we're going to really talk about those edge cases and focus on them. So the first thing they tell us is we're given two non-empty linked lists, right? So these linked lists are representing the integers that we're adding together. So they're non-empty. What does that mean for us? That means if we're adding two numbers, right, like 500 plus something else, right? This second number, it can't be empty. There's always going to be some number here, right? So like 8, for example, something like that. It's never going to be empty. The other thing is that they're non-negative integers. That's really convenient for us because these are linked lists, remember? So having a negative number would kind of be inconvenient, so good thing we don't have to worry about that. The other thing is the digits are stored in reverse order. Now, let's not worry about this too much yet. So for example, we see 342 down here and 465, right? In the linked lists, they're stored in reverse order. So 342 is actually 243. 465 is actually 564. So we'll see later that having them in reverse order actually helps us. And so we want to add these two numbers and return it as a linked list. So for each digit, we're going to have to create a separate node. So we'll keep that in mind. So let's look at a slightly modified example. In the example given, both the numbers had the exact same number of digits, right? So there were 3 digits in each, but we're looking at it slightly different. We added one more digit to one of the numbers, because this is kind of a case that you have to consider. So the first thing we're going to do is obvious, right? We're just adding two numbers together, so we're going to go iterate through them, right? So 5 plus 2, that's going to be 7, right? That's our first node. And notice that we're starting at the ones place, right? Because that's how you add numbers. And since the lists, these linked lists are given to us in reverse order, it makes it really easy for us to start at the ones place. That's how you add two numbers together. So they really made it easy for us. So next, we're just going to basically keep doing that, right? So now we're going to get to the next two numbers, add them together. That's going to be 10. So we're going to remember that we have to put a carry. So we'll have a 0 here, and we'll make sure to remember we have a carry. So now we're going to do 1 plus 4 plus 3. That's 8. Now we no longer have a carry, so the carry's gone. And now we get to a weird place, right? There's nothing here. So we only have one node, right? So what are we going to say is up here? Well, we can just kind of assume that it's a 0, right? So there's not actually any value, but we'll assume that there's a 0 here. So 0 plus 3, that's going to be 3. And in this case, this is going to be our result. So we just considered one edge case of what if the two linked lists that we're adding together are of different sizes, right? So we kind of know what we can do in that case. Now, there's one last edge case that's kind of tricky. I seem to never remember it when I'm solving this problem, but maybe you'll be able to catch it. So let's say we were adding 7 plus 8 together, right? Now, when you add it together with addition, right, it's pretty obvious. Let me rewrite it. So we know it's 15, right? So we're going to put a 5 here, but we have a carry. So the carry is going to go here, right? But there's no other number that we're adding here, right? We know we can just put the 1 here, but when you're solving this algorithm, you might forget to do that because with a linked list, 7 plus 8.
Well,
8,
wow.
you add these together, you get a 5, right? That's our result. And you'll put the carry here. You'll say, yeah, there's a carry of
Close the
1,
door.
but in our algorithm, we have to make sure to remember to put the 1 in our result, right? Even if there aren't any nodes here, right? Like there aren't any input nodes that we're adding it with. So with all of that in mind, let's actually get into the code and it'll probably make even more sense. So the first thing we want to do is we know we're creating a resulting linked list.
That's it?
So I like to just put a dummy node to not have to deal with any of the edge cases of inserting into a linked list. And our current pointer is going to point at the position that we're going to be inserting a new node or the new digit into. So we're going to iterate through these nodes. Now, how long are we going to be iterating through them? While either of them has a digit. So while L1 or L2 is non-null, we're going to be adding them together. Now we know one of them could be null, so we're going to get the digits from them. V1 is going to be the digit of list 1. Only if L1 is non-null. If L1 is null, though, we're going to set it to 0, right? Just like we did in our visual example. Get started. Example. We're going to do the exact same thing for V2. Now we actually want to add them together. But hold on, remember we had a carry that we have to maintain. So I'm going to have a carry value and initially set it to 0 outside of our loop. So carry is initially 0. So now we're going to compute the new digit. So how do we do that? Well, we'll say V1 plus V2 plus carry, right? This is elementary school mathematics. But now we could potentially have a new carry, right? So if our number that we just computed, for example, what if it's 15, right? So that's a 2-digit number, so we want to get the carry out of that. So how do we get it? We can just say value divided by 10. Also, since our value could be
Oh, so it's
greater than 10, right? Like 15, we want only the ones place digit. So we're going to take our value and mod it by 10. So that'll give us the ones place. So we want only the
1. Idiot. Forgot about the vision. I forgot about vision. Oh my
The
god.
ones place digit. So we're going to take our value and mod it by 10. So that'll give us the ones place. So now that we have the digit, we can finally insert it into our list. So we're going to say current.next. We're going to insert a new list node with the value that we just computed. So now we're going to be updating our pointers. So we have to update current. So we're going to set current to the next pointer. We're going to update our list1 and list2 pointers if they are non-null. So L1 is going to be L1.next if L1 is non-null, else we can leave it as null. Right, you might say, okay, now we're done. We're just going to return dummy.next, right? So we're going to return the list that we just created. But remember that edge case that we talked about, right? What if we had 8 plus 7? Our loop is going to
Where that might be.
stop and we're going to forget about the carry. So over here, I'm going to add one last thing to our condition while our loop is going. If our carry is non-null, we want to continue the loop, meaning if our carry, for example, 8 plus 7, L1 and L2 are going to be null, meaning V1 and V2 are going to evaluate to 0, but our carry is going to be 1, right? So we're going to say, we're going to insert a value of 0 plus 1 because our carry is 1. And then, of course, our list is going to need to have that value in it. So don't forget about the edge cases. That's really what makes this problem annoying. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for
So while V1 are G2, L2, else 0. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a carry. Suppose V1 plus V2. No, no excuses. Think about it.
Aren't you curious to answer all those what ifs? Then listen to the voice inside you.
Hey guys, L1 and L2 are going to be null, meaning
Oh my god. Ah, so dumb.